welcome back to the Ozark Homestead. Glad you made it back to the channel. And we're going to talk about a couple things today. You know, here we are, about the middle of spring, right in the heated throes of putting out the spring garden and getting some plants and playing in the dirt and getting things going. Now, with doing all that, there's some things you got to start now keeping an eye on. One of them is garden pest. All shapes, forms, and sizes, like the dreaded tomato worm. And the one that I have to fight on a constant basis is the squash bug. Now, they are very evasive, and I have learned a couple of things over the years on how to take care of the squash bug. And it's very simple, and it's not very expensive either. You know, a lot of people say, well, you can go get chemicals and spray on them, and yeah, there are a couple of things out there that might help with the squash bug, but sometimes you just got to get hands-on. Now, what I do, and this is a little trick that I learned a couple of years ago, is that only things that you need to fight squash bugs is a sprayer, and of course, water to go in the sprayer, and go down to the Dollar Tree and pick up a bottle of, and I'm not doing this as a sponsorship or anything, it's just something that works, a bottle of Ajax Ultra Super Degreaser. Or you can go get a bottle of Dawn. But, you know, it's cheaper, you know, at the Dollar Tree, well, it's $1.25 to get this. And the other thing you need is a roll of duct tape, which you also can get at the Dollar Tree. Now, what you do is you take your sprayer and you take your Ajax and pour it in there, and I use about a half a bottle. As you can see, I've already mixed it up. And then it's a super concentrated mixture. Then fill it with water. So all you got now is water and dish soap. Now, what you do is when you see a squash bug, squash bugs, like a lot of other beetles, have on their exoskeleton kind of a waxy surface. And the way that they breathe, they don't breathe using lungs, they breathe because they have little holes alongside their exoskeleton that air just kind of moves in and out. And this waxy substance is just let air move in and out. But when you hit them with this spray, especially the Dawn or the Super Degreaser, it takes and washes that waxy covering away. So now you got the water mixed in with the soap that goes in those holes, and within seconds they die. They drown, essentially. Now, unfortunately, I walked through my squash patch a while ago, hoping I could find a squash bug. Imagine that, looking for it, wanting to find a squash bug, and I couldn't find any. But I did find evidence to where they were there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a little trip to the garden, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of the evidence of a squash bug using duct tape. So let's go to the garden. All right, there we are. As you can see, try to get up here closer to where you can see it. There we got squash bug eggs. So what you do when you find these, now there's a lot of things people say, well, you can just pinch them off. Well, yeah, you can do that. Or you can squash them right on the leaf. Yeah, you can do that too. But I want to get them out of there. I want it completely out. So what I do is I take a piece of duct tape, press it down, trying to get it in frame here, and then just pull it up. And if you leave one, go back in there and get it. And there it is. There it is. Then you just fold it up, and just toss it in the trash. That takes care of your squash bug, and you didn't damage your leaf all that much by squishing around on them. But they are in here. It just so happens I haven't been able to spot one yet. Okay, now once your garden really gets going and everything, now my plants they're doing great. But as the season goes on, they're going to get bigger, so it's going to be harder to find they have squash bugs. So what you can do is you can come in here with your sprayer and just hit the base with that solution, because they like to get down there in that base and hide. This will run them out, and then once that runs them out, then you can hit them again, and take care of the squash bug. Pretty simple. And this solution will not hurt your plant. Contrary to a lot of people talking about, you can't put soap on them. Yes, you can. because you don't want the squash bug ruining your harvest. And I figure while I'm out here doing this video, I'll give you an update on some of the raised beds. Brussels sprouts are looking really good. I already had 2 harvests off the broccoli. I've got a few more in there. It won't be long, they'll be ready to go. And then we have the other raised beds coming along nicely. See, I got a couple of squash plants in here, so I have to keep an eye on those too. And we got potatoes growing, looking good. Got peppers. And I put a few begonias in there. Got to pretty up the place a little bit. And more tomatoes. And we still have a strawberry too trying to come on, and more potatoes. But what I'm really proud of is my cabbage. Man, oh man. It's done really well. I pulled the row cover off of it just to take a look at it, and I was highly impressed with what I see. It's going to look good. Going to look real good. And a bed in front of the porch. Yeah, I've got another squash plant. Like I said, I got a bunch of them. And in a pot, and it's looking good. This is where I found my very first squash bugs of the year, was on this thing here. And then we got more cucumbers going on, looking good. And then my cucumbers in my pots, starting to trail down and grab a hold. I put a string across there so I have something to run across on there. And looking good. And yes, and the straw bales. Yep, I do have squash there too. So I have to keep eye on that. Pepper plants looking good, tomatoes looking good, all in that. And if you'll notice, this straw bale has not broke down as much as that one or that one. Those have broken down really, really nice. Really, really nice. Then we got potatoes and onions in that one. And a few more tomato plants. And this weekend, this bucket of potatoes, we're going to dump that out and see what's in there, because the foliage is starting to turn yellow and start to die off, which means it's put on just whatever it's going to put on. And we'll be dumping that this weekend. I'll do a short video on that just to let you know how that one went. We planted that in the middle of February. So we're about 3 months into it, which is about time to see what's in there. In-ground garden. Like I said, I've got a lot of squash. There's the squash patch. Of course, y'all watched any of my videos, you know I kind of screwed up. Excuse me. Planted squash out here in my cucumber row. So I got squash in there too. Peppers doing fine. Tomatoes doing fine. Matter of fact, I'm gonna walk down here and show you, because you know the one video I did where we was talking about doing Florida weave, as you can tell, I'm still doing that. And I do it based on however the plant size is. That's why I've did it separately. Matter of fact, this one here, this row has actually been weaved 4 times. So I just did it yesterday, our 4th weaving, and they're looking good. Everything's kind of holding up tight. Now, one thing I did want to mention about the Florida weave while I'm on here is there is a little something that I call, as what I call stringing it up. And essentially what that is I was looking to see if I could find one. As if you look like here, how this is separating, now it's still tight. It's still tight. But if your string does get a little bit loose, to where there's a lot of play in it, what you can do is take you another piece of string, tie it off here, and run it around over here to the other side and tie it off there. And it kind of makes a little bit of a loop, and it tightens that all up. And that way you don't have to run another string. Just go in there and kind of support it up there a little bit so it don't move around so much. You have it, a little quick tour of the Ozark homestead here, and I hope that you learned something today and have something to take away from this video. And we got a lot more coming on. We got a lot more videos coming up, few more tips and tricks is what I'm trying to say out there for you that may enhance your gardening ability. And I know there are millions and hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube about gardening and all that. And I watch a lot of them myself, don't get me wrong. I watch a lot of them. And I've picked up a few things off and on. So, because I'm just going to say gardening is very relaxing. It's work, don't get me wrong, it's work. And you know, people go by and say, you know, look at your garden, look at your garden. I said, yeah, and it's all work. You just don't stick it in the ground and walk away from it. You know, it takes being maintained and proper nutrients and things of that nature. So hopefully I'm bringing some knowledge and some information, maybe even a little entertainment, who even knows. So anyway, I hope to see y'all in my next video, and we're going to say so long right now from the Ozark Homestead. See y'all later.